Well, hello and welcome. My name is Velma. You can connect with me at velmanolds.com. This is all about your leadership chat. What does that mean? You get to listen in on valuable insights from valuable leaders just like you. I want to encourage you to go ahead and subscribe so that you never miss another episode. And if this is of value to you, please share the nuggets that you're going to take away from all these great leaders. Hey, please give a big welcome to my special guest and your valuable leader, Colleen Law. Colleen, welcome to your leadership chat.
Well, thank you so much. It's great to be here.
Oh, I'm super excited for this. I have recently met you, so it's been, I say recent, in the last several months. Last year, we met last year.
Yeah,
Because
yes, last
at the recording, we're in a new year. And for those listening, I just felt like Colleen is a valuable leader in not just the things that she does, but also in the lives of the people that she touches. And I love your story, and I know that you have valuable leaders in your life. And so I'd love for us to kick things off with you just sharing a little bit about who you are and what you do.
First of all, I am a college professor. I teach health policy, public health, and mental health at a Christian university, which is uh, marvelous for me. I'm an entrepreneur with two businesses. One is a coaching business where I help both doctoral candidates and master's candidates complete their dissertations or theses in 1 year. Okay. And my second business is a Lego business. I build replica houses as well as dioramas out of Lego bricks and pieces.
Yeah. So you play all day long. That's what I say.
Yes, I love it.
I know you glow when you say the word Lego, and I think it's because it's so funny. It's hysterical. The fact that something that is designed for children, in essence, originally a
Yeah.
game, Lego building, those putting the pieces and parts together, that you have creatively adopted those that toy or creation for play into really helping people see their dream homes.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. It is been fascinating to me for a long time. I
Yeah.
got into it because my brothers are significantly younger than myself,
Right.
and I wanted something that we could do together.
Right.
And Lego turned out to be that thing.
Right.
And I would build houses and they would build cars, trucks, rocket ships.
Right. Right.
Ever since then, I have been building with Lego, and it slowly turned into a business.
Oh man, it is amazing. That's awesome. Well, I love it, and I know when we wrap things up, you people will be able to know where to go to learn more, because they're probably saying, "Let's talk about Legos and houses." But but I know that it didn't. It takes not just creativity, but it also takes leadership to have that type of vision. And so, my first question for you is, can you share who in Colleen's life you would say is a valuable leader, or maybe they have been a valuable leader because they've since passed on from this earth, living here? And that why would you say they're a valuable leader in your life?
Well, the first person that was a valuable leader in my life is Dan Miller,
Yeah.
former leader of 48 Days Eagles, author of 48 Days to the Life and Love You Work You Love.
Mhm.
Um, he has since passed on, but he changed my life completely. Okay. I wanted to take his course, 48 Days, that was being given at my church in 2000.
Mhm.
And I was so busy at the time that I couldn't take it. But then I went back a year later and took it, thinking that, okay, the Lego business would be the thing that I would be working on. No, the coaching business came up. And from the moment I sat in that class on the first night, I said, okay, this is something I can do. And then shortly thereafter, I was on not a podcast, but a webinar by
Hmm.
Dan. And I was watching it, and I literally heard God say, now. And I knew exactly what he talked about. By
Yeah.
the end of that webinar, I was a 48 days eagle.
Nice.
And every time I talked to Dan, everything that was in the community,
Hmm.
I did, read, saw, whatever.
Right.
And I went from having a victim mentality to a
Hmm.
victor mentality.
Hmm.
Okay. And ever since, that's what changed my life.
Hmm.
Everything in my life changed as a result of going to Dan Miller and becoming his student, basically.
Yeah, yeah. Now tell me, I know that it was a year before you got into the community with Dan, but how did it was offered at your church, his program, and I'm sure in all of our different churches and communities, there's so many things offered. So
Yes.
tell me what was so intriguing. I want to know because he's such a valuable leader in your life. I mean, he's literally did a 180,
Yeah.
helped you do because you did it, but he gave you that confidence and belief and change in thinking that took you from where you were to where you need to be to get on the path to where you are now. I would just love to get a little deeper on what was it about the program that you said, I need to be in that program?
Well, it said, create the life and work you love.
Mm,
It was that phrase.
yeah,
I thought, one, if I love it, it's going to be a lifestyle, and I'm never going to be at the mercy
right.
of anyone else or anything else.
Yeah,
So that was very important to me,
yeah.
and the idea of creating it, meaning I could make it what I wanted to make it.
Hmm.
That together with the life that I love, um, that was the interest for me.
Yeah, yeah. It
You
was a
know,
no-brainer, right?
yeah, yeah, it really was.
Hmm.
And from that first lesson, he said, "You can do this."
Mm.
You know, this is a matter of taking stock of who you are,
Hmm.
what skills and talents you have, what your values are, and putting them all together.
Yeah.
You
Oh,
know,
man. Yeah.
and that it was just marvelous.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, wow. And I'm so thrilled to, be in your circle, to know you, get to know you even better, to know your story and the as an outsider to the 48 days, I'm on the edge doing all the outside stuff because, my path was became a certified John Maxwell speaker, trainer, and coach, and John and Dan are of the same philosophy.
Yes.
So my heart is for leaders and helping them maximize their potential, and that's what John believes in. That's what he does. And so I'm learning more and more about the work that Dan is doing now that I have the Maxwell certification and have been doing John Maxwell for the last 7 years. So I love this. I love this. I think our paths were like that and then came like this.
Yes, definitely.
Awesome. 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 So yeah, so Dan literally gave you belief. I mean, as a leader, he helped you to see the leader in you.
Yes, I had very little belief
Yeah.
in my skills, my abilities, um, even in my ability to make decisions.
Really?
The first really great decision about my life
Hmm.
was to join the 48 days.
Wow.
And I joined it at a time when I had very little uh, extra money. In fact, during that webinar, I was looking at my budget and I cut out something just to join 48 days,
Wow.
you know. Um, and it was at a time in my life when I was recovering from uh, a really significant thing in my life.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. And it was just, he gave me that belief and that confidence. And
Hmm.
with everything I learned from him,
Hmm.
belief grew, the confidence grew, such that the first business I opened was the Lego business. I'm sorry, not the Lego, but the coaching business, and I did it during the pandemic.
Wow. Yeah. And you
So
know what? It's interesting because the very seed that, and this is how, I always look for little nuggets, and the very seed that Dan planted in you is what you're planting in those graduate students and those going for their, their doctoral thesis. You're
mhm.
giving them, you're transferring your belief. Yes, I know you're giving them a process, but it's also the belief that they can do this and the confidence in coming alongside them as their coach.
Yes,
Awesome.
and for me that starts with, I know you're familiar with a disc
Yes. Yeah.
inventory. I always start every student with a disc inventory for
Hmm.
two. One, so they can learn about themselves,
Right.
you know, and two, so I can learn the best way to help them,
Right. Yeah.
you know. And it's always so fascinating to see the change,
Yeah.
the the knowledge
Hmm.
that comes into their eyes just after the disc,
Yes.
you know, because
Yeah.
I spend one full hour and a half session with them, just, pulling out the fragments of the disc so they can understand it,
Hmm. Yeah.
and it's marvelous.
Oh, yeah. And you have such a heart for it. You could just see it. It glows off of you. So I'm so excited. Okay. Now we've got a tough, valuable leader there in Dan. Some big steps to follow. And so my second question is around now that and you've learned and you've experienced what it means to have a valuable leader in your life. And I'm sure there are other people that we could talk about. I always, just for the sake of time, I always try to nail it down on one. Sometimes some of my guests squeeze in another one, and it's okay. But my second question is like, so how would you say that Colleen is paying it forward? Meaning, how do you impact the lives of others so that they could see the valuable leader in them?
Well, I do it in several ways on several levels. But
Okay.
what I have been doing a lot of lately
Yeah.
is business coaching with coaches, or entrepreneurs more specifically, who are coming in just starting their journey.
Mm-hmm.
So there are several people. In fact, there are four that I'm working with right now. I charge them nothing. I
Uh-huh.
just help them think about what they need to think about to establish their business,
Yeah.
get it going, and then later on how to scale their business,
Mm.
and they have some of the same questions I have, some better questions than I had,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know. Um, but I like to pour into them because a lot of them are coming in with very little confidence that they can do it.
Yeah.
Just a passion for an issue or an idea
Yeah.
and a need to do it,
Mm-hmm.
but less confidence that they can do it,
Sure. Yeah.
you know. So
Yeah.
I pour into them.
Yeah, I know. I think when you think about entrepreneurship, soulpreneurship, or having your own business, even if it's a side hustle or side business that you're doing while you're still in traditional workforce, if you will,
Yes.
the thing that people focus on is, and I've been guilty of it when I started, right? We focus on the money. How much money are we
Yes.
going to get, right? And the big challenge for majority of us and myself, I put myself guilty in that, is the mindset. It's the mindset first, like what Dan did with you, like you're doing with those new entrepreneurs. And then once you can get that once you can get clarity around that and get that confidence that you need, then you have a path that you could see where the money will come. But
Exactly.
I think we put the money first. I'm in business for money, and we forget that there's a whole mindset change that we need to be
Yes.
successful.
And once you get that mindset straight
Yeah.
and you start doing the things you need to do to be an effective leader, to pour
Mm,
into other people, to
yes.
do the passionate work that you do,
Yeah.
the money will come.
Yeah.
But you have to do this piece first,
Hmm.
you know. Um, and a lot of people don't understand that.
No, no.
It's really funny because my I was having a conversation with my father about it over Christmas break.
Okay.
He is a chemical engineer, so I mean,
Smart.
chemical engineers think in a certain way.
Sure.
Okay,
Mhm.
all of them.
Yeah, let's put the disc profile on him.
Exactly. I've been trying to get him to take it, and he won't take it.
You know
You
what
know,
he is.
yeah. But it's just so funny. He's like, "You can make money doing that?"
Yeah.
And he's like, "You've made what doing that? But you give so much away. How do you could be making more money?" And I'm like, "It's not about the money." And he doesn't understand that. But
Hmm.
he's getting there,
Yeah,
it
yeah,
as I become more and more and more successful,
sure.
he's starting to see that there's something else out there.
Yeah, no, I can so appreciate your dad because and his position because with my mom, trying to explain to she's in, she was in the Bahamas at that time and she would say, everyone would say, well, where's your baby? Because I'm the baby, and she would say, well, my baby lives in Florida. And then what does your baby do? What does she do for a living? She's like, I don't know. And then so she asked me, she said, so what do you do? What do you do what's your job? What do you do for a living? And I said, well, Mom, remember when I was little and you used to say that, girl, you talk too much. I'm like, that's what I do. I'm a speaker, coach, trainer. I talk for a living. I knew people would pay you to talk. And so it's just running joke. So like your dad is like, say what? People pay you
Exactly.
for that? It's just a different world we live in too. Because the mindset back then was, you would go into traditional work. I mean, my mom worked for 40 years, 42 years as a sales clerk at the same department store in the islands of the Bahamas. Um,
Yes.
and she, her customers loved her,
Yes.
right? And your dad is a chemical engineer, and I'm sure he loves what he does too. And so it's like a traditional type of role. And
Yes.
being a coach or speaker or training, and those don't seem traditional in the sense, at least back then, for
Right.
our parents or
Exactly.
grandparents. Okay. All right. You're doing so well. Look at this piece of cake. All right. So my third question. So folks listen in and they love to hear, okay, so we're going to hear about somebody who's a valuable leader in the life of that guest and maybe how they are paying it forward. But they also love this question. And the question is, what would be one big takeaway that Colleen would say to listeners? These people are hearing you, some for the very first time. And if you could say anything to them, what would be one big takeaway you would want to give them around how they could be valuable leaders in their own life? What would you say?
Well, I would say first, what are you passionate about?
Mm,
Okay. That is your starting point. You start right there.
mm,
Okay. If you are passionate about something,
mhm.
that means it's important. And regardless of what other people say,
Right.
take that passion and you move forward with it. Whether you want to be in ministry, whether you want to be a business owner, whether you want to be a teacher,
Hmm.
whatever. Okay. Um, if you have a passion for it and it is something you find that you are good at something you could talk about for hours on end and not get tired.
Right. With no notes.
That's right. You know, move for just start.
Yeah.
Okay. The hardest part is to start.
Hmm.
Once you start, momentum will kick in. So
Okay.
that's the biggest takeaway. A
Yeah.
lot of people don't start.
Mm.
You know, they're like, okay, I think I can do it. Something start, stop, stop, stop. You know, that will be your biggest downfall.
Yeah.
You
Mm.
know, even if you start and you fail,
Right.
you're a lot closer to
Right.
getting what you want than if you hadn't started at all.
Hmm.
You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
one of Dan's favorite sayings is, you can shoot for the stars. If you fall short, you're still among the stars.
Right.
You
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
it's yeah, just start.
Mm. I love that. So find that passion. What is it that, you're passionate about that you could talk about forever and a day that just lights you up and brings
Yes,
that energy because that's where you start from there because you'll have
yeah,
the fuel, like you said,
exactly.
you'll have that momentum and you won't fizzle out on it. And I think that's so true because sometimes, we want to start a particular, maybe a business or start a particular career path because someone else told us, or
Right,
because we think that's where I'm going to make money, or we think, that's the only thing that's available. So I got to settle or take it.
exactly, exactly.
And then you're not fulfilling your potential. You're
Right,
not living into your God-given gifts either.
exactly.
You might be really good at it, but you're not doing the thing that you were made or designed to do, is what I like to say.
And I would actually add to the passion is,
Yeah.
don't be afraid to take risks. And it
Mm,
goes right along with it.
yeah.
I used to be a risk averse person.
Yeah.
And my first risk was taking that one line out of my budget and moving it to Dan Miller.
Yeah.
That was my first risk.
Yeah.
And then I kept making risky moves all along the way,
Yeah.
making quick decisions,
Mm, yeah.
you know, um, and that's part of the momentum.
Right.
You can't be afraid.
Right. I love that. You can't be afraid. Yeah. And yeah, you just have to face that fear. And
Yeah.
when we know fear, people all say, well, fear is forget everything and run. And
Mhm.
I like to use the line, face everything and rise. So
Yes. That's
you
beautiful.
yeah,
Yes.
you just get through it. I used to be deadly afraid to do these videos. People who hear the beginning of this and now they're like, "Oh my gosh, you're like a pro." I'm like, "No, I just, you
Yeah.
just you just make it. You do it for the people that are listening, and that's my heart." All right. Well, thank you so much for pouring into us and giving us your big takeaway around finding that passion, leaning into that, taking risk on not just the passion, but on yourself. That's where the
Yes.
belief comes and when you fail, and you will, consider that a learning opportunity, not that you've
Exactly.
failed, but that's a failure in that area. And now you know not to do it like that.
Exactly.
Yeah. And make those quick decisions. That's something I've had to lean into.
Me too. It was very hard for me. I grew up,
Yeah.
as with having a chemical engineer father.
It's always the dads.
Yes. You do not make quick decisions.
Right.
You evaluate one side and the
Right.
other side, you
Right.
merge them and you figure out where to go.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
and that's how I grew up.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Same here, same. I mean, my mom, 40, 42 years, same store, no risks there, right? So absolutely, I totally, kindred spirit, I totally hear your heart. Um, I know that folks listening in, whether they are, wanting to finish their education, master's or doctoral, or looking at a side business or even starting, maybe they're in the middle of just starting a new business. I would love for them to learn more about you and how they could connect with you and what resources you might have to help them. This is your opportunity, please.
Okay, well, first of all, for those who are looking for advanced education assistance, I call myself an academic coach.
Right.
They can reach me at Colleen at B as in boy, D as in dog, coachingsolutions.com. For those who are looking for Lego related items, they can reach me at Colleen at C, B as in boy, H .com or custombrickhouses.com.
Okay.
And for those who are just entrepreneurial and have questions
Sure.
and want to just talk, they can reach me at colleen.e.law@icloud.com.
Okay. All right. Well, we will make sure that we have your contact information. It'll actually pop up on the screen too. So that, but if folks went to ABD Coaching Solutions, they would also be able to reach out to you there too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yes.
So any of those
Any of
resources.
those.
Okay.
But I talk to a lot of people about a
Right.
lot of different things,
Yeah.
and I just love talking to people
Yeah.
and inspiring them and giving them a starting point
Sure. Sure.
or a next step point,
Right,
you
right.
know.
Oh man, that's awesome. You have just been, I mean, fantastic, pouring into a lot of great ideas. And it's interesting that you started off talking about someone that helped you to change your life. And when you started talking about Dan Miller, the passion that exuded from you came out full force in, when you said if there's one big takeaway, it would be to find your passion. And so I just love how that has weaved right through the whole conversation, how passionate you are from the beginning of someone being passionate enough that you could borrow it to now where you're passing it on to others too.
I
Awesome.
love it.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah. Yeah.
my life has changed 180 degrees,
Yeah.
and not just business wise,
Right.
but personally.
Yeah. I love
It
that.
just affects everything in your life.
Yeah. No, I love that. That's awesome. I love hearing that because I truly believe that, work is not here and life is here. It's integrated. You're not one person here and one person there. And so to be able to say that not only has it changed for your business, but it's changed your life, I totally understand and agree. You can't it doesn't happen where they're so separated. There's no church and state. It's
That
who you are, and this is the work you do and the life you live. And I know you share this, our heart's desires for people to have their best live and work in their best life. Yeah.
exactly.
Awesome. Awesome. All right. All right. Well, that's a wrap for today. So we just want to say thank you again so much, Colleen. I so appreciate you.
Well, thank you so much. This is wonderful. I love doing this.
Hey, thanks so much for watching another episode of Your Leadership Chat. I hope that you've enjoyed this video. Make sure that you hit the subscribe button here and tap that bell icon so that you never miss another episode. I hope too that you'll give us a thumbs up on the video for a like. And then if you feel led, please share the video with those who need to see it. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you next time on Your Leadership Chat. Bye for now.